Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Girl Let's Chat. Today we're going to talk about how to write an executive summary. An executive summary is part of your business plan. So if you have not seen my video on how to write a business plan, be sure to go back and watch it. I will link it below. So why does the executive summary matters? Okay. Well, the executive summary is actually the first thing that investors and partners read in your business plan. Think of it as your business's elevator pitch on paper. It should be clear, persuasive, and concise, yet powerful enough to grab the person's attention. Now, let's look at what is an executive summary. Well, your executive summary is actually a 1 to 2 page overview of your full business plan. All right, it's written last, but they read it first. It also will bring to highlight your business ideals, your market opportunity, your financials, as well as your team. So if we're looking at how to write a great executive summary that investors and people that are looking to partner with you are going to read, your executive summary needs to have these 7 elements. Okay, I have written them down. So it's called 7 must-have elements that you got to have a really good executive summary. Number 1, in your executive summary, you must have a business name and location. So if you have a brick and mortar building, or if it's a room in your house, or if it's your it's an online business, you still need to have a location of where the business actually is situated or resides in. Your executive summary also has to have a mission statement, and we will talk about how to write an effective mission statement in some of our upcoming videos. You also need to have in your executive summary your products and services, the overview. Basically, an overview of the products and services you tend to offer and sell in this business. You also need to list your market opportunity. You also have to have the business model, which means how you plan on making money, and financial highlights. This is your revenue projections and whatever funding needs you may need for your business. Okay. Now, when we're looking at the very beginning, that first sentence of your executive summary, you want to start that with a hook, something that's going to grab the reader's attention immediately. All right. You want to lead with your biggest strength, traction, innovation, or market need. Okay. This is an example. In the last 6 months, we've served over 1,000 customers with zero marketing spend. Oh, you served 1,000 customers and you didn't spend anything in marketing? Oh, I'm interested to hear about that. Does that make sense? So when you're developing, that first sentence of your executive summary has to be something that's going to grab the reader's attention, grab the investor's attention, because eventually we want to be able to go to banks. We want people to invest in our business, and we want to use other people's money to expand and scale the growth of our company. All right. So when you're doing your first sentence, you want to use numbers, bold claims, or powerful statistics, but keep it factual. You don't want to say anything that did not occur. For an example, let me see. I grew 1,000 daisies last month, and I am prepared to sell 1,000 daisies to Walmart's lawn and garden services. I didn't grow 1,000 daisies. I only grew 100. Now, if I tell you I grew 1,000 daisies and then you place your order for 1,000 daisy, then what's going to happen? I'm not going to be able to meet the demand. So you want to make sure that what it is that you're selling or your bold statement is actually factual. Also, you want to describe the problem that everyone has and your solution to meeting their problem. Describe the problem and your solution to everyone's problem. You want to make this very, very clear to the reader. Okay? Now, once you have made your bold statement, you've identified the problem, you've made it clear on your solution to the problem, you also want to then introduce your product or service as the solution. Here's an example. Seniors often struggle with transportation. Our app connects them with vetted local drivers in under 10 minutes. First of all, that's a bold statement because I am a home care provider and medical transportation takes a while. Sometimes you got to call 5 days in advance or more to schedule an appointment. So, you know, that if I am investing in medical transportation and I see that you can service seniors within 10 minutes, you've caught my attention. Does that make sense? All right. So keep going. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to market and show a competitive advantage. All right. You're going to market and show a competitive advantage. This is the time you want to prove that there's a demand for what you have to offer. You're going to show there's a market for your product or your services. If, let's just say for an example, I'm a nail technician. Okay. And I have gel polish. I've created a formula that is hypoallergenic. It doesn't break you out. It's vegan, but it still lasts. Okay. So I will be targeting those who can't wear gel polish. All right. They're allergic to the ingredients in it. And this will meet the need for those that like gel polish. That's just some example, okay? But this is where you want to put what you are marketing and your product and who is going to serve. Okay? Always use statistics and customer validation. Now, another thing, this is number 7, that you're going to include in your executive summary, you're going to include financials and funding needs. Okay? You're talking money with confidence because if an investor is reading this executive summary, they're going to want to know what you need from them. Okay? All right. You want to include a high level numbers, projected revenues, profits, and break-even points. If you go back to our business plan, in the business plans, we show the levels, okay? We show what we need to get started. We show projected revenues, and we show how long it's going to take before we break even in the business. Because the businesses always start out in the red, meaning you've gotten money to start. You're not making any money because you're in the red. You're paying bills, you're funding the business out of invested money, not money that's coming in. Then you're going to be eventually breaking even, meaning if I spend $100 and I'm paying out $100, I don't have any net revenue yet, I'm breaking even. Okay. Then I'm going to show projected revenues, meaning over the next 6 months, we're going to go from making $100 in gross revenues and then taking $100 and paying on our expenses to we're going to bring in $600 in gross revenues, still taking $100 to pay our expenses, but now we're having a profit of $500. So the first 6 months, we're going to profit 500. Within the first year, we're going to profit 1,000. And then within the next 2 years, we're going to profit 10,000. The next 5 years, we're going to profit 100,000. You see how that goes? It's progression. All right. Now, always remember that you want to keep your numbers realistic and base your numbers on research, not wishful thinking. For an example, let's just say if I cut grass, okay, and I'm charging $60 to cut someone's lawn, and I have already 10 neighbors that want to use my lawn services, and they have agreed for me to cut their grass every 2 weeks. So in my initial startup, I need to have money to buy a lawnmower. So my lawnmower is probably going to cost me $2,000. My weed eater is probably going to cost me $200. And then I got to use gas. So let's just say I'm going to take $5,000 and invest it in my lawn care business. Well, the first 2 weeks when I begin my lawn service business, I start out with 10 customers and they're paying me $600. Okay. Well, so I'm going to take that $600. That $600 actually has to go back into the reserves to replenish that $5,000 that I initially invested in. So you don't make a profit, and you have to show this in your executive summary. How long will it take to get that $5,000 back? And when will you start making a profit? Okay. The next thing you want to have in your executive summary is you want to showcase your team and vision. This is very important. This is where you're going to briefly list your founders and your key team members. Let's just say you're a husband and wife and you're wanting to start a group home. Well, here you will say something, and you're a registered nurse, like I'm a registered nurse. So let's just say I'm a registered nurse and my husband is a banker. In my executive summary, I am going to say the founders, Yolanda Caesar, RN of 20 plus years with experience in senior, will be a part of the team that's going to grow this business. The husband, my husband, is a banker. He's also in accounting. He's good with finance and he's able to manage money. Will be on the team and will serve as our COO. So does that make sense? So the main thing, what you're showing here is the experience and why you're an expert at this business that you're getting ready to start. If I never cut grass before in my life and I go and start a lawn care service and I want to go to the bank to get money to purchase my first 5 lawnmowers, they're going to say, well, Yolanda, have you ever cut grass? No. Do you know how to use a weed eater? Well, I know how to use an electric one. Well, what about the ones that require gas? Do you know the different types of weed eaters? No. So why would they invest their money in you and you don't know the business that you're trying to start? See, this executive summary is actually going to show them that you are the expert in this field that you're servicing your business. Okay. All right. Number 9, you're going to make it irresistible. Okay. You're going to write it after the full plan so you can summarize actively. Remember, even though your executive summary is the first 1 and 2 pages of the business plan, we're not going to write the executive summary until the end, meaning we have other pieces of the executives, the business plan that we're going to write, because once we get it all down, then we're going to come back in and wow, with the summary. And it really is biblical because God declares the end from the beginning. He saw what was already made before he spoke it. And that's how you have to think in your business plan. Okay? Now, and while you're writing, you're going to ask yourself, would I invest in this after reading just the executive summary? Because I'm telling you, that is the key on what they're going to be looking at. Okay? Because the executive summary is going to want them to want to know more. Like I said, it's like your elevator pitch, but it's in writing for your business. Okay? All right. Final thoughts. The executive summary is your first impression, so make it count. Write clarity, confidence, and facts that you can win attention and gain the funding that you need to start your business. Okay? Also, remember, before we start any business, you want to be the expert in that business. So make sure you understand the population that you're going to serve. You understand the resources that you're going to be providing for them. And you have a good know-how. We're going to also, the next video, we'll talk about how to become a CEO by changing and developing our mindset. Now, if you like what you heard, be sure to like and subscribe and comment below on if you have any questions regarding the executive summary. I try to read all my comments and we're here to also help you. Now, I also wrote down a little bonus tips for you guys, and just to let you know that I will be sending a sample template to offer you when writing and constructing your executive summary. So if that's something that you're interested in, let me know. We do Girl Let's Chat. We'll have a newsletter coming out soon, and anything that we talk about, we're going to have free templates. We're going to give examples in this newsletter. Just drop your email below and I will make sure to sign you up. And so you will get that information. Well, that's all I have for you today. I want you guys to be blessed. And remember, we are going to get this thing done. And I will see you again next time on Girl Let's Chat.